cast Rachel Zegler as Snow White, and it's been an interesting casting because this woman is extraordinarily woke, as everyone is in Hollywood, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
Can you tell us a little bit about your version of Snow White?
Yeah, I mean, Snow White is the girl you remember, but she's definitely made for the modern age, and there's such an emphasis on what it really means to be the fairest of them all. And for Snow White, it's coming to terms with finding herself and finding her inner voice and finding a sense of agency so that she can be a just ruler and a wonderful queen.
Have you ever witnessed a beloved fairy tale crumble under the weight of its own ambition? That's exactly what's happening with Disney's new Snow White. From the moment they announced a 21st century makeover, skeptics warned that altering such an iconic story could spark controversy. But few expected the firestorm that ensued. The 1937 original wasn't just any animated feature, it was the very cornerstone of Disney's empire, the film that revolutionized animation and made Happily Ever After a permanent fixture in Hollywood. Tinkering with such a legacy was guaranteed to raise eyebrows, yet the reality turned out far more explosive than anyone predicted. Early hints of trouble began when Disney started dropping tidbits about the remake's direction. The promise of modernized themes and a fresh take sounded promising to some, but it also triggered alarm among purists who cherished the original's classic charm. Skeptics asked, what would become of the Seven Dwarfs? Would the innocent romantic plot be replaced by heavy-handed messaging? And was there any chance the studio would respect the timeless innocence that made Snow White so magical in the first place? All those questions took on new urgency when Rachel Zegler, a rising musical star with a notable following, stepped into the spotlight as the new Snow White. At first, fans were intrigued. She had proven talent as a singer, a fresh face who could appeal to younger viewers. But controversy soon erupted. In interviews, she described the classic 1937 storyline as outdated, criticized the prince's behavior as creepy, and even joked about wanting to be paid for every hour she had to wear the fairy tale dress. Although some defended her candor, others saw it as a slap in the face to longtime Disney enthusiasts. The internet lit up with debate, with one side applauding her confidence and the other claiming she showed no respect for the character she was portraying. The controversies didn't stop with Ziegler's comments. The creative team dropped Prince Charming altogether, apparently worried about implying a non-consensual kiss, and replaced the Seven Dwarfs with CGI creatures to dodge accusations of stereotyping. Yet, these changes only fueled a bigger outcry. Smaller actors and their advocates felt slighted, arguing that they'd lost a rare opportunity to appear in a high-profile Disney film. Fans lamented that the movie was erasing the spirit of the original, mutating the beloved tale into something unrecognizable. What was once an enchanting romance now seemed overshadowed by lectures and forced modernization. Then came the audience reactions, and that's where the meltdown became impossible to ignore. Test screenings produced worried whispers, which soon turned into open criticism on social media. Reviews poured in describing the film as disjointed, soulless, and shockingly off-brand. Disney poured a huge budget, over $250 million, into the production, hoping lavish visuals and star power would secure a blockbuster hit. Instead, the IMDb rating plummeted to nearly unprecedented lows, floating around 1 or 2 out of 10. Suddenly, in boycott Snow White and Snow White disaster hashtags stormed the internet, while memes poked fun at everything from the CGI dwarves to the missing prince and Ziegler's outspoken comments. Inside Disney's corporate halls, rumor has it that executives entered full-on crisis mode. Some staffers dubbed the project Snow Wrong, reflecting the sinking morale and concern that the film's marketing push was draining resources with little hope of profitable returns. CEO Bob Iger, already under pressure for other underperforming titles, faced investors who wanted answers. How could a studio famed for its touch of magic fail so spectacularly with the very film that started it all? Emergency re-edits reportedly took place. PR teams scrambled to soften Ziegler's remarks and reframe the modern spin as progressive, but the backlash was too immense to contain. Meanwhile, a broader conversation was unfolding within Hollywood and among fans worldwide. Has Tinseltown's fascination with reboots gone too far? In recent years, studios have increasingly banked on nostalgia, confident that big names and classic titles would draw massive audiences. Yet Snow White 2025 seemed to confirm a growing suspicion. You can't rely on brand recognition alone, especially when you strip away the essence of what people love about the original. Critics argued that the heavy-handed messaging, intended to show empowerment, felt more like a lecture than an organic update. Supporters of such modernizations saw it differently, claiming that new stories deserve new values. But no matter where people stood on the debate, almost everyone agreed the execution here felt clumsy and alienating. What truly catapulted this fiasco into pop culture history, though, was the perfect storm of social media. Fans dissected every interview clip, every promotional photo, every snippet of the soundtrack. Zegler's commentary about the prince's stalker vibes added fuel to the fire, while defenders insisted that it's important to evolve past outdated tropes. The problem, opponents said, was that the evolution felt forced, focusing more on virtue signaling than on creating a cohesive, heartfelt story. In the end, it seemed that no one, neither the original fans longing for classic romance nor modern audiences craving a new twist, felt truly satisfied. All of this has forced Disney into an uncomfortable spotlight, raising big questions about how they'll approach future live-action remakes. Will they return to faithful adaptations that honor the past, or will they double down on radical reinventions, hoping the controversy stirs curiosity? For now, insiders whisper that morale is low, budgets are being scrutinized, and not even a powerful brand like Disney is guaranteed success when it comes to tampering with timeless stories. Rivals in the industry are taking notes, watching this train wreck in real time, and recognizing the perils of ignoring test audiences. And what about Rachel Zegler herself? Despite the intense criticism, her defenders claim she's merely speaking her truth, calling out problematic elements in a nearly century-old film. Others argue she's done irreparable damage to her public image by dismissing the original's core. Either way, it's a cautionary tale for actors stepping into iconic roles. Disrespect the source material at your own peril because fans can be fiercely protective of the stories they grew up loving. When the dust finally settles, Snow White 2025 could be remembered as a turning point, a clear illustration that not every classic can be successfully remodeled to meet modern demands, at least not without genuine creativity, respect, and a compelling narrative. Some viewers are already hoping that Disney will pivot away from these big-budget remakes in favor of fresh, original ideas. Others simply want better synergy between the timeless charm they remember and the progressive values that many viewers appreciate. Only time will tell if Disney can reawaken that missing magic. So, where does that leave you, the viewer? Possibly amused, stunned, or just curious to see how far a studio can push an update before its audience pushes back. Whichever camp you fall into, it's hard to deny that this saga will be studied, debated, and memed for years. It's a dramatic reminder that no legacy is too big to fail, and even the most enchanting fairy tale can turn into a cautionary story about hubris, misread audiences, and the pitfalls of an overzealous remake. Feel free to share your opinions. Do you think Disney went too far, or should the old classics evolve with the times? After all, fairy tales are meant to inspire wonder, not spark controversy. But in the case of Snow White 2025, controversy might just be its lasting legacy.